Many people misunderstand confidence. They imagine it as a loud voice, an intimidating presence, or the constant need to prove superiority. But the strongest form of confidence is often invisible. It does not announce itself. It does not seek applause. It exists quietly beneath every decision, every habit, and every challenge. This is what many people call dark confidence. Not darkness rooted in harm or cruelty, but a calm, disciplined certainty that cannot easily be shaken by criticism, rejection, or temporary setbacks. Real confidence is quiet because it does not depend on constant recognition or approval from other people. Many individuals believe confidence must be displayed through loud opinions, bold claims, or an endless need to prove themselves. They mistake attention for strength and visibility for certainty, yet genuine confidence rarely feels the need to announce its presence. It is built through consistent action, disciplined habits, and an inner belief that remains steady regardless of who is watching. Human nature often encourages comparison, making people seek validation through praise, popularity, or admiration. While these things may provide temporary satisfaction, they cannot create lasting self-belief because they depend on opinions that constantly change. Quiet confidence follows a different path. It is rooted in personal standards rather than public approval. A quietly confident person does not need to win every argument or dominate every conversation to feel valuable. They listen carefully before speaking, think before reacting, and allow their actions to communicate what words often cannot. This calm approach creates a sense of stability that others naturally respect because it reflects emotional maturity rather than insecurity. Human psychology recognizes consistency. Someone who remains composed during criticism, humble during success, and patient during uncertainty demonstrates a confidence that is difficult to imitate. They understand that proving themselves to everyone is unnecessary because their identity is not built upon outside opinions. Quiet confidence also protects emotional energy. Instead of becoming distracted by every challenge to their ego, they remain focused on long-term goals and meaningful growth. They do not seek applause for every achievement because the work itself provides satisfaction. This mindset allows them to continue improving even when recognition is absent. Relationships also become healthier because conversations are no longer driven by the need to impress or compete. Respect grows naturally through reliability, honesty, and calm behavior rather than dramatic displays. Professionally, quiet confidence inspires trust because people feel secure around someone whose actions remain balanced under pressure. Personally, it strengthens resilience because setbacks become opportunities for learning instead of threats to identity. Over time, this quiet strength becomes part of a person's character. Others notice that they do not react impulsively, chase unnecessary attention, or depend on constant reassurance. Their confidence is visible not because they speak about it, but because they live it every day. By understanding that real confidence is quiet rather than loud, you develop a lasting sense of self-worth that remains steady through praise, criticism, success, and failure, allowing your character to become the strongest expression of who you truly are. Emotional control creates unshakable strength because it allows you to remain steady regardless of the circumstances unfolding around you. Most people believe strength is measured by physical power, influence, or the ability to dominate others. But lasting strength begins with mastering your own mind. Human nature is highly reactive. A single insult can provoke anger, a moment of rejection can create self-doubt, and unexpected failure can tempt you to abandon your goals. When your emotions control your decisions, your life becomes dependent on events you cannot fully control. Emotional control changes this pattern by placing your values above your impulses. Instead of reacting immediately, you pause, observe the situation, and choose a response that reflects wisdom rather than temporary emotion. This pause is where true strength is developed because it prevents small problems from becoming larger ones through careless reactions. Human psychology naturally respects individuals who remain calm under pressure because composure communicates confidence, discipline, and inner security. A person who can stay balanced during criticism, uncertainty, or disappointment becomes difficult to manipulate because their behavior is guided by thoughtful judgment instead of emotional impulse. Emotional control also improves the quality of your decisions. Anger often narrows your perspective, fear exaggerates risk, and excitement can encourage unnecessary haste. A calm mind, however, evaluates situations more clearly, recognizes opportunities more easily, and responds with greater patience. This ability strengthens relationships because conversations become guided by understanding rather than emotional outbursts. It improves professional performance because challenges are approached with clarity instead of panic. It also builds personal confidence because every difficult situation successfully managed becomes proof that you can trust your own judgment. Emotional control does not mean suppressing your feelings or pretending that pain, disappointment, or frustration do not exist. It means recognizing those emotions without allowing them to become the leader of your actions. You acknowledge what you feel, learn from it, and then decide how to move forward according to your principles. Over time, this discipline becomes one of your greatest advantages. While others are distracted by emotional turbulence, you remain focused on your purpose. While others react impulsively, you respond deliberately. By developing emotional control, you create a form of strength that cannot easily be shaken by criticism, success, failure, praise, or adversity. Your confidence becomes rooted in self-mastery rather than circumstance, allowing you to face life's uncertainties with calm determination, clear judgment, and the quiet resilience that defines truly unshakable strength. One of the greatest advantages you can possess is the willingness to let people underestimate you while you continue improving. Human nature often encourages the opposite. Many people feel an overwhelming need to prove their intelligence, reveal every ambition, and demonstrate every achievement as soon as possible. They believe recognition must come before accomplishment, yet constant self-promotion creates unnecessary expectations and often distracts from the work that truly matters. Quiet progress is different. It allows you to develop your abilities without becoming dependent on outside approval. When people underestimate you, they often lower their expectations, making your steady growth even more powerful because your results eventually speak for themselves. This does not mean pretending to be less capable than you are or hiding your talents out of fear. It means understanding that genuine confidence does not require constant validation. Human psychology is naturally influenced by appearances and first impressions, but lasting respect is earned through consistent action rather than early promises. Instead of spending your energy convincing others of your potential, invest that energy in strengthening your knowledge, refining your skills, improving your habits, and building your character. Every hour devoted to learning, practicing, and disciplined effort becomes an investment in your future. Over time, the gap between perception and reality begins to close as your work becomes impossible to ignore. This mindset also protects your emotional well-being. You become less affected by criticism because your focus remains on progress instead of public opinion. You stop competing for attention and begin competing with the person you were yesterday. Relationships improve because you no longer seek admiration through constant comparison or self-promotion. Instead, people come to value your humility, reliability, and quiet determination. Professionally, this approach builds credibility because your reputation is shaped by results rather than by claims. Personally, it creates resilience because your confidence grows from evidence you have earned through consistent effort. You understand that real success is rarely immediate and that meaningful growth often happens away from public attention. By allowing yourself to be underestimated while continuing to improve every day, you remove the pressure to impress and replace it with the discipline to progress. In the end, your achievements become the strongest introduction you could ever make, proving that lasting confidence is built not through seeking recognition, but through patient, consistent development that eventually allows your actions to reveal what your words never needed to announce. Mastering your mind before trying to influence the world is one of the most important principles of lasting confidence. Many people spend enormous amounts of energy attempting to change other people's opinions, behaviors, and perceptions while neglecting the one thing they truly control, their own mind. Human nature often focuses outward. We blame circumstances for our frustration, seek validation from strangers, and allow the actions of others to determine our emotional state. Yet no lasting confidence can exist when your inner world is constantly controlled by external events. True strength begins when you realize that your greatest challenge is not overcoming other people, but overcoming your own fear, doubt, impatience, insecurity, and impulsive thinking. These internal obstacles quietly shape every decision you make. If you cannot manage them, no amount of success or recognition will create lasting peace. Mastering your mind means becoming aware of your thoughts instead of becoming controlled by them. When fear appears, you acknowledge it without allowing it to stop your progress. When anger rises, you pause before speaking. When disappointment arrives, you choose to learn instead of surrendering. This discipline creates emotional freedom because your behavior is no longer dictated by temporary feelings. Human psychology naturally admires people who remain composed during uncertainty because they demonstrate inner stability rather than emotional dependence. Such individuals do not panic when circumstances become difficult, nor do they become arrogant when success arrives. Their confidence remains steady because it is rooted in self-awareness instead of changing situations. Mastering your mind also improves every relationship you have. You become a better listener because your attention is no longer consumed by insecurity. You communicate with patience instead of impulse, and you make decisions based on reason instead of emotional pressure. Professionally, mental discipline allows you to remain focused despite distractions, setbacks, or criticism. Personally, it strengthens resilience because challenges become opportunities to practice self-control rather than excuses for frustration. Over time, this inner mastery transforms every area of life. You stop wasting energy trying to control things beyond your influence and begin investing that energy in developing your own character. Your confidence grows quietly because every disciplined response becomes evidence that you can trust yourself. By mastering your mind before attempting to influence the world, you create a foundation of clarity, patience, and emotional strength that cannot easily be shaken. In the end, the person who governs their own thoughts, emotions, and actions possesses a greater form of power than someone who seeks to control everyone else, because lasting influence always begins with self-mastery. Building boundaries that protect your peace and purpose is one of the most important acts of self-respect. Many people mistakenly believe that setting boundaries is selfish or unfriendly, so they constantly say yes to requests, tolerate repeated disrespect, and sacrifice their own priorities in an attempt to keep everyone happy. Over time, this habit drains their energy, weakens their confidence, and distracts them from the goals that truly matter. Human nature often encourages people to seek approval because acceptance feels comfortable and rejection feels uncomfortable. However, trying to please everyone eventually leads to losing sight of your own values and direction. Healthy boundaries are not walls that isolate you from others. They are clear standards that define how you choose to spend your time, attention, and emotional energy. They help you recognize the difference between genuine support and unhealthy demands. A person with strong boundaries understands that every commitment carries a cost. Every unnecessary distraction takes time away from meaningful work, personal growth, and the relationships that deserve genuine care. Human psychology naturally respects individuals who communicate their limits with calm confidence because they demonstrate self-awareness rather than insecurity. Setting boundaries also strengthens emotional resilience. You no longer feel obligated to respond to every criticism, engage in every argument, or accept every invitation that conflicts with your priorities. Instead, you make thoughtful decisions based on your principles rather than on guilt or fear of disappointing others. This habit creates greater clarity because your attention remains focused on what truly matters instead of becoming scattered across endless obligations. Relationships also become healthier because they are built on honesty and mutual respect rather than resentment or silent frustration. People who value you will learn to respect your limits, while those who benefit only from your lack of boundaries may gradually distance themselves. This process may feel uncomfortable at first, but it creates space for stronger and more meaningful connections. Professionally, clear boundaries protect your productivity by reducing unnecessary interruptions and helping you remain committed to your most important responsibilities. Personally, they preserve your emotional well-being because your peace is no longer dependent on satisfying every expectation placed upon you. By building boundaries that protect both your peace and your purpose, you create a life guided by intention instead of pressure. Your confidence grows because your actions consistently reflect your values, your energy is invested where it creates lasting growth, and your character becomes stronger through the quiet discipline of knowing when to give, when to step back, and when to protect what matters most. Discipline is the quiet force that transforms ordinary intentions into extraordinary results. Many people wait until they feel motivated before taking action, believing that confidence arrives first and consistent effort follows. In reality, the opposite is often true. Confidence is built through repeated acts of discipline. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, complete a difficult task, or continue working despite discomfort, you strengthen your belief in your own character. Human nature naturally seeks comfort, immediate gratification, and the easiest path available. While these instincts may provide temporary satisfaction, they rarely lead to meaningful growth. A disciplined person learns to place long-term purpose above short-term emotion. They understand that lasting success is not created by occasional bursts of motivation, but by small, consistent actions repeated over time. This mindset changes the way challenges are viewed. Obstacles become opportunities to practice commitment rather than excuses to stop moving forward. Human psychology naturally respects individuals whose actions remain consistent regardless of changing emotions because reliability demonstrates integrity and self-control. A disciplined person does not need to constantly explain their intentions or convince others of their abilities. Their behavior provides the evidence. They arrive prepared, honor their commitments, continue learning, and remain focused even when recognition is absent. This consistency creates quiet confidence because every completed task becomes proof that they can rely on themselves. Discipline also protects you from becoming distracted by comparison, criticism, or temporary setbacks. Instead of reacting emotionally to every difficulty, you return your attention to the habits that support your purpose. Relationships become stronger because people learn they can depend on your words and your actions. Professionally, discipline builds credibility because consistent performance earns greater trust than occasional brilliance. Personally, it creates emotional stability because your identity is rooted in daily effort rather than in changing circumstances. Over time, your actions begin speaking more powerfully than your words ever could. People notice your patience, your reliability, your focus, and your commitment without needing dramatic announcements or constant self-promotion. Your reputation becomes the natural result of your habits rather than your promises. By becoming so disciplined that your actions consistently reflect your values, You develop a confidence that cannot easily be shaken by praise, criticism, success, or failure. In the end, true strength is revealed not through what you claim you will accomplish, but through what you quietly and consistently do every single day, allowing your life itself to become the strongest expression of your character and your purpose.